up there the whole time. Unlock your potential. This is my favorite free live masterclass that I run. And the reason is I find that this masterclass is the one I see the biggest change in how people feel now compared to at the end of the session in terms of knowing what to do, feeling in control, feeling positive and motivated. Because I deliberately designed this session for students who might be struggling with their revision. It's ineffective. They don't know why. They're trying really hard. They're not making progress and they desperately need a certain grade to get into university or whatever they might be aiming for. So if you're in that situation, you are going to feel so much more positive by the end. You're going to learn how to analyze your tests, identify effective ways to transform your grade. So essentially, we are going to be working on how you can skyrocket your grade. I'm actually going to get you in the chat box to rank at the moment from 1 to 10. How confident are you feeling at the moment about A-level biology? So how confident are we feeling currently? And actually, I'm going to phrase it slightly differently. How confident are you that you're going to be able to get the grade that you need to be? So how confident are you that you think you know what to do and you are going to get the grade that you need out of 10? 10 meaning it's a sure thing. I'm getting that grade. I know exactly what to do. Number one is it's never going to happen. I have no idea what to do. I'm not going to improve beyond this point. Okay, so of course, we've got some 6 7s in there. When's that going to disappear? Probably never. So we've got some 6s, we've got some 7s. A lot of people are going at 5, and then we've got some 8s as well. Okay, so by the end of this session, if your number isn't higher than you've just said, I will be shocked because most people come out of this session saying their mindset is completely transformed. They know exactly what to do to improve now. And that is why I do really encourage that you stay for the whole hour. I realize you're busy, you might be multitasking currently. If possible, and you can do this without multitasking, you can just sit down, take it as like a solid lesson, it is going to help you so much more. So I do encourage you to do that. I'm going to keep bringing you back in the chat box to make sure that you are staying focused. And because I want you to stay till the end to get the most value out of this free session so that you can make the maximum amount of progress, I am going to be sharing with you a special bonus. But also, some of you saw this on my Instagram yesterday because you were asking me, what's that prize you've just given someone? Why have they just gotten your notes for free? What is going on? This is what is going on. If you're staying till the end, you've also got this possibility to win my flashcards or notes for free. How do I know you're staying till the end? I want you to take a photo of you studying with one of the final slides. So I know that you're staying till the end. One of the final slides when we're setting our SMART targets, showing you don't have to be in the photo if you don't want, but just showing your setup, showing that you're there. Send it to your stories, but tag me. If you don't tag me, I don't know you've done it and you can't be entered into the random draw. If you've got a private account though, even if you tag me, I don't get notified because it's a private account. So you'd need to tag me, post it to your stories, screenshot, send me a DM if you want to be entered into this draw. And I will draw this probably at about 9. Oh, we're here until 9. Probably at 10 because after that I'm going to bed because I need some sleep. But I'll draw it tonight, the winner, and I'll just put it on my Instagram. So look out for that if you want my notes or flashcards for free. I've got it for AQA, OCR, and Cambridge International. That's what you need to do. Take a photo of one of the final slides and tag me to show you've been dedicated and stayed until the end. Okay, let's jump into the main content then. Hands up in the chat box, and by hands up, we've all got an emoji. Hands up if you feel you have been trying really hard and you have been doing the right things and you are either not improving or just not improving at the rate you expect you should have been. There is going to be a Q&A section, yes. The hands are going up. There is a reason for this. I have been teaching now since 2009, and I've been teaching online on YouTube since 2020. I was about to say the year 2000. No, 2020. And every year I get asked the same sorts of questions. And that's why I put this course together. So people that follow me are usually students like you who really care, dedicated, they've got high aspirations, want to do well. So then if they're not doing well, it's really confusing, it's really disappointing, and you don't know what to do to improve. And it's always the same reasons. If I speak to any of those students, I can get to the bottom of why they're not improving in a couple of minutes because it's always the same issues. However, I don't have the capacity to talk to every student one on one because I have hundreds of thousands of followers, which is why I made the session and invited you all along so I could share it with you all in one go. So, what I'm going to go through with you is a list of mistakes that students make which are costing them grades. That means they're not improving. But the key thing is they're mistakes that you're making that you don't realize are mistakes. Because there's probably mistakes you're making that you know are mistakes. You might have not done well in a test and you sit back and think, well, I didn't actually revise enough. I probably started too late. Maybe I didn't do enough exam questions. Those sorts of things you know are mistakes. But there are mistakes that students make that they don't know are mistakes, and therefore they don't realize that they need to fix it. And that's why you're not improving. So I'm going to show you the list. I'm going to talk through everything on this list, why it's a mistake and what you should do instead. But for now, take a look, and in the chat box, I want you to list every one of those that you are making. I am certain that there is no one here that isn't making at least one of these mistakes because every time I've done this session, and by the way, this is the 11th time I've done this session over the years, every time I've done this session, most people have between 3 and 5 mistakes listed. So, which of these are you making? Okay, most I can see coming in with about 4 or more. Okay, so let's go through these. First of all, if you have listed loads of mistakes, to me, this is the best news ever. That is the best possible thing I could see in the chat box yesterday, that you are making so many of these mistakes. Not because I revel in your misery and that you aren't doing well and you're not making mistakes, but because I'm now going to let you know their mistakes. You're going to know how to fix it. And that means you now know how to improve. And if you hadn't have come to this session, you wouldn't have known that. You would have carried on making these mistakes and you wouldn't have improved. So that's why it makes me happy to see in the chat box, because I now know you are definitely going to gain a lot of value from today. You are going to make improvements. So issue number 1, revising in chronological order. Loads of you had this in the chat box. What this means is you revise the topics in order. So when you're revising for your mocks, you start on topic 1, tick. Then you go on to topic 2, tick, topic 3. That's a mistake because your time is precious. You don't have endless time. You are doing your A levels. You might have a part-time job. You might have commitments that you have at home as well. It is a very busy, stressful time as an A level student. So you need to be prioritizing your time. So revising in chronological order is not a good idea because you might run out of time. Instead, you should always be starting with what you find the hardest. So, loads of people find immunity hard, gene technologies hard, homeostasis. Those are some of the really tough topics. So, you should be starting with those, not doing it in order. Because otherwise, you might be doing the easiest topics at the end, or sorry, at the start when you've got loads of time. You want to spend most of your time on the hardest bits. So stop doing it in chronological order. Instead, you start on what you find hardest. Next, number 2, just reading over notes or watching notes is passive. So if you are just reading notes or just watching my YouTube videos and just sitting there listening to me tell you everything you need to know about topic 4 in the space of about 2 hours, there is a place for that because it does help you understand. But if you are just sat there listening, then it is passive. That's actually why I added on all of the free workbooks to my videos this year, because I wanted to try and force students who are watching the videos to be more active by downloading that free workbook and completing the activities that match to the video. So at least it's testing, have you understood it? Can you put it in the right place as a bare minimum? But when it comes to reading over notes, watching videos, a maximum of 20% of your revision time should be spent on that. 40% should be on active recall, things like flashcards, um, or my active recall workbook, blurting, testing each other as a pair. So with the flashcards, you can use my videos to make your own. If you are now worrying that you are completely running out of time and you do not have time to make your own flashcards and you don't mind buying flashcards, then I do have flashcards available for AQA and OCR, which are mark scheme specific, written by me, checked by examiners as well. So that is just the link to the AQA ones. I saw there were some OCR people, so I'll put it in there. The reason I'm just pasting it straight away is normally when I say that, the next question I get is, where can I get your flashcards from? But obviously you have to buy those. You can make them for free just from watching my videos. Right, number 3 on the list is only completing exam questions. This is an issue because if you jump into just doing exam questions too soon, you're the opposite of number 2 on that list. You're now not giving yourself any time to really understand and check you remember the information before doing exam questions. And the reason that's an issue is you might do those exam questions too early and then find them hard, get them wrong, and feel rubbish about yourself, completely knock your confidence, feel demoralized, and think, well, that's it. I've tried the exam questions. I know I meant to do lots of exam questions. I was rubbish at them. I'm not very good. When actually that's not the case. You just started them too soon. And you needed to make sure you understood and remembered it first. So 20% of your revision time, start with reading over notes, watching videos. Then move on to things like flashcards, active recall, blurting. Then the final 40% of your time is then on exam questions. So that should help. Next, we've got completing all exam questions. Now, if you have got loads of time, you might be able to do this, but most students don't have enough time to do every single past paper that ever existed. So attempting to do that is a waste, not a waste of your time, but it's not the best strategy because you should be focusing on what you find hardest. So I've got on my website for free, again, I'm going to get the link for this because I normally get asked this straight away, where is the link? On my website for free, this is the freebies tab where there's lots of different freebies, but you need to scroll down this freebies tab to skills assessment, topic assessment. There's 2 bundles, skills assessment, topic assessment. In the topic assessment, I've got bundles of exam questions by topic. In the skills assessment, I've got bundles of exam questions by skill. So things like a pack of application, a pack of long answer questions, a comprehension pack, and so on. So you can then focus your time on the skill or the theory that you are finding hardest to prioritize your time. They are just for AQA, but you could still try them for other exam boards. Next then is not practicing in exam conditions or timed conditions. Now, I wouldn't suggest doing this all the time, but when you get to the point in your revision, probably April, May, where you are a bit more secure with your understanding and memory of the theory, you should start trying to do exam questions in timed conditions because you need that practice of how long does it actually take me to read and process a question and then write my answer? And if you're not quick enough, then you need to know that so you can practice getting quicker. Also, it takes quite a lot of effort to sit, focus, and write for a long period of time. So you might want to do some packs of questions that are not an entire paper just to check you're fast enough. But you need to do some entire 2-hour papers as well to check, can you focus for that long? Out of interest, I'm just going to bring you back in the chat box. Did you see my video this year of me sitting the AQA paper 1 in 2025? Why answering that still? Someone said, at what point to start closed book practice? I'd probably be doing that from around April, but it depends. If you're already confident on the topic, then go for it. Now, if you didn't see it, I had a copy. I wasn't actually in the exam hall, but I had access to a copy of the paper. So after the exam, I sat the paper and I videoed myself doing it and put it on YouTube. And then when the mark scheme was published, I marked it and I shared my results. Now, the reason I bring this up linked to not practicing in timed conditions is I have not forced myself to sit, well, I have done since this now, but I had not forced myself to sit and do an entire paper. And I found it so hard because it was one of the hottest days of the year. Because I was videoing, I had the windows shut, I didn't have any fans on. I was hot, I was sweaty, I was uncomfortable, and I didn't want to sit for 2 hours doing an exam paper, but I'd committed to doing it, so I was going to do it. But I didn't sit for the whole 2 hours. I only spent 50 minutes doing it. I rushed through the paper. As soon as I finished, I stopped and I didn't check a single answer because I was hot and bothered and I just wanted to stop. But that was a huge mistake of mine because I made lots of mistakes that when I marked it, I was like, why on earth did you write that? If you just checked it, you would have spotted that mistake. And it was so infuriating. But the point is, I hadn't done any practice in timed conditions. I just went for it. And it'd be the same for you. If you did no practice in timed conditions and suddenly then in June you're sat doing the exam, you're not used to how it feels having to sit down for 2 solid hours revising and practicing. So you're going to need to do some practice of that as well. But some of you saying, I thought you got 86 or 87%. I think I got 87%. When I actually looked at it, if I rounded it, it was 87%, which I appreciate is a very good score. But I've been doing this for 16 years. So I was expecting to get in the 90s, especially when I saw some mistakes that I made. I was very annoyed at myself because they were just silly mistakes. So definitely practice in time conditions. Not bullet pointing your answers. I saw that some of you saw when that came up, you're like, what? You're allowed to bullet point your answers? Yes, you are allowed to bullet point your answer. And I've checked, I know this was certain for AQA. I've had it checked for OCR. Other examples I haven't checked, but if your answer is presented in the same way as it is on the mark scheme, you're going to get the marks. And all mark schemes are bullet points of answers. It is absolutely fine to bullet point your answer as long as what you've said still matches the mark scheme. So when I say a bullet point, it doesn't mean you can just literally bullet point and say enzyme and just have a single word. It still needs to make sense. It still needs to address the marking points, but you don't have to write a continuous flowing paragraph. Some people prefer that, fine, but I personally don't when I'm doing it because I find I'm so much quicker if I can have my thought process, right, that's number one, that's bullet point one, then this and this and this, and I can check, have I got enough bullet points for the number of marks? And I can check the bullet points more quickly to see have I got a marking point in each bullet point. By the way, that doesn't count for the essay. Do not bullet point the essay. That is not the case. But all of the others, that's fine. You can even do tables. Someone said, what about diagrams? For some questions, that is fine. If you've got a labeled diagram, for example, if they want the structure of DNA, if you've got a labeled DNA nucleotide, that covers the points in the mark scheme, so that's fine. Yep, Calvin cycle, that'd be absolutely fine as long as it shows all the information that's written on the mark scheme, whether it was as a diagram or a list. If you've demonstrated that knowledge, it is fine. That's the same for the essay as well. You can include diagrams in the essay, but only if you feel it's adding to the essay. Next then, number 7, not interleaving revision. Interleaving means instead of just doing all of one topic, ticking it off and moving on to the next, you're actually doing a little bit of one topic, then you jump onto another, then you jump back to the previous one, then you jump onto another. So you are swapping up what you are revising over time. So let's say in the month of March, you might do a little bit of topic 3, then a bit of topic 2, then a bit of topic 1, but then you go back to topic 3. The point of this is, first of all, it makes sure that you aren't just focusing on one topic at a time, moving on, and then you forget all about it. But the main reason is research has shown that by doing no extra work at all, just by interleaving your revision instead of blocking topics, students who did the interleaving revision got more marks on application questions. And it's thought that that's the case because when you interleave your revision, you start to see connections between topics that you might not have seen if you were just chunking separate topics. So, for example, you might be learning topic 1, proteins, but then you jump onto topic 3 and you do 3 and you do a bit about digestion, but then like, oh yeah, that links to what I was doing about proteins yesterday. the tertiary structure, unique 3D shape, those enzyme active sites and digestion. And it helps you to make these links, and that makes you better at application questions and the essay for AQA. What I did point out yesterday that people found really helpful is, oh, my cat's about to jump on. I actually have, if you're struggling to think how to do interleaving revision, for 99p, I have a spreadsheet that plans it all for you. I've just pasted the AQA version, but I have an OCR version as well. Let me just type OCR next to this one. That spreadsheet shows you from January to your exams, or from the start of year 13 to your exams. I think I might even have March or Easter to the exams as well, what to revise each week, interleaved and repeated, so that you've got all of that there. Someone said, can you only interleave questions with topics that link? Nope, it doesn't have to link. It can be completely random. It's just the theory behind doing that is it helps your brain make connections between topics. Okay, next then, not repeatedly reviewing topics. Kind of links to number 7, but out of interest in the chat box, do you know how many times you're meant to revise something or look over it before it sticks in your long-term memory? Someone said, is that spreadsheet only for year 13s? Oh, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think I might have it where it starts from year 13. So that's not helpful for you literally right now in year 12. But if you have it and you're using it from the start of year 13, then it is helpful. Okay, so a lot of you said 7. You'll be pleased to know it's actually only 5. Ebbinghouse's forgetting curve, he did research looking at how long it takes you to forget something. But he then did research, how long does it take you to forget something? Which, by the way, if you're told something new, if you then don't look at that new bit of information again, you will have forgotten. I think it was like 90% of that information within a day. But if you then look over that information within that first 24 hours, you remember it all again, and you can remember it for a bit longer. And then if you looked over it in about 4 days' time as you're starting to forget it, you remember it again, and so on and so on. And he found the golden number is 5 times. And that doesn't mean 5 times from now. It means 5 times from the first time you ever taught something. So you've probably already done 2 revisits for like homework, tests, but you've got to repeatedly look at topics. And those spreadsheets that I pasted, my long-term revision trackers, they are interleaved and repeatedly post the topic. So you can pretty much just follow that theory idea. You might want to tweak it though, because you should start with the topics you find harder, but it gives you a bit of an idea, and it's only 99p. So you can always have a look at that. Right, next on the list. Oh my gosh, number 9. Giving up before you see the improvement. Who here had number 9 on their list? Who has ever given up or knows they have a tendency to give up before they see improvement? And what I mean by that is maybe you've been told you should do spaced revision, you should repeatedly look over something, you should be doing active recall, you should be doing flashcards, and you do all of that. You then do your next test and you're like, right, well, that was still not what I was hoping for. It didn't work for me. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing because that was more effort and it didn't work. It's just nothing's helping. Because that is the case for most people at some point in their life with something very common with learning things for your A levels, because improvements don't happen overnight. They don't even really happen in a week or 2 weeks. So if you've been making these improvements, you might not see an improvement literally in your grade by the next test. But if you give up and go back to what you were doing beforehand, you definitely won't improve. You have to stick at it and accept you aren't going to improve straight away. But if you follow the advice I give you and that your teachers are giving you, you will improve. It just takes a long time for some people. Some people are very, very lucky and improvements happen like that for them. But most people, that's not the case. Most people, you need to accept that even if you increase by 2%, that is a win to celebrate because you improved. So you need to be celebrating every slight win, because every slight increase adds up to a big increase between now and your exams. So please don't give up on the changes that you are making. Okay, Let's go on then. So that is my list of mistakes that you now know you have been making that you didn't realize were mistakes. You now know why it's a mistake and what to do instead. So what that tells me is we have now got an absolute gold mine waiting for us. And when I say gold mine, what I mean is this is your end goal. This is what you are absolutely striving and working hard for. What is your gold mine, by the way? What is the goal that you are aiming for? Is it a particular grade? Is it a particular university you want to get into? Is it a particular degree? What is it that is your absolute, this is what I want? So I can see A's, A stars. Some of you, I think you were saying, is it too late to improve? It's definitely not too late to improve. Let me just answer a general question though. There's no point asking me, is it possible for me to go from this grade to that grade? Because I don't know. I don't know you personally. I don't know what work you've done previously. I don't know what your school's like. I don't know what your working environment's like. I don't know if you're going to stick to the advice I give you. So I can't ever tell an individual whether you will personally improve. But what I can tell you is those grade improvements are possible and students have done it in the past, but students only make big amounts of improvement if they put in the changes that we're talking about and they consistently work hard and don't give up. That's only when you see those massive levels of progress. I can't say if you personally can do it because I don't know you, but I can tell you people have done it in the past. Okay, so I saw there were some medics in there. There were certain universities, there were top grades. So your gold mine is your weaknesses. Your mistakes are your gold mine. And what I mean by that is if you now know, like we do, what mistakes you were making that you didn't previously know, and we're now next going to move on to working out what your weaknesses are. If you know what you're weak at and you know mistakes you've been making, you can now put actions in place to fix it. And that is how you make the maximum, those huge jumps of progress, is by working on your weak points and mistakes, not by working on what you're already good at, because you can't improve much if you're already good at it. You need to focus on what you're not very good at. And that is how you make huge amounts of progress. And for this reason, this is the first point now where you really need to change your mindset around bad test results. And by that, I mean you're in a class, you're in a mock, you get your test back, it was a D, E, whatever grade it is that you feel disappointed with. Do not feel embarrassed about a bad test result because that bad test result is your gold mine, meaning you can now examine this to work out why did I get that grade? Is it something about the way I revised? We've just gone through all those mistakes. Is it actually more something that I don't understand? Is there a skill? And if you know that information, you do have time between now and your exams to fix it. So you need to be owning your mistakes, owning those weaknesses, feeling in control with it and accepting, yeah, I didn't do very well on that, but I now know why. And that's great because I now know what I have to do to improve. So in the chat box, what are your weaknesses? What are your mistakes? For me personally, I'm going to share it as well. So like I said, you've got to own your weaknesses and mistakes. There's nothing to be embarrassed about because everyone's got something that they're weaker at. For me personally, my weaknesses are I rush and I don't check properly, which you will see if you see my social media posts. They're covered with typos because I rush things and I don't check. So I get overexcited and just post. I'm the same in exams. I rush, I don't check, I make mistakes. And maths, I struggle with the maths. But I knew that was my weakness, which is why going into teaching, because I have to be able to teach it, I've worked so hard on the maths. And that is why this was something I was really proud about. When I sat that paper one this year, although I made mistakes, I got full marks on every maths question, which blew my mind. And I was so happy because I know that's my weakness, but because I tried so hard, I conquered it and I got full marks. And you can do the same. If you've got something that you find harder, keep at it, keep practicing, and you can improve at it. So don't ever feel embarrassed or ashamed about a weakness. Everyone has weaknesses, everyone makes mistakes. You just need to know what they are so you can work on them and fix them. And that's why I'm always very open about sharing what my mistakes are and weaknesses are to show you it is completely normal. Everyone has them. It's accepting that and then working on those first so you can improve. Which, by the way, if there is anyone out there that also, like me, finds the maths the hardest point, that is exactly why I made this maths book with actually one of my colleagues who's much better at maths than me, so she could fine tweak some of this. But I struggle with maths, and I found that there was so few resources out there to help people like me that find maths hard, because in the exam they have the maths question, they give you the answer, and then in the mark scheme they don't explain how you got to the answer. And I'm looking at it thinking, how is that helping me? I don't know how you got to that answer. Give me an explanation. And that is why I created this workbook. Is every math skill for AQA, and I've got an OCR version that you could be assessed on, telling you what the skill is, explaining how to do it, modeled question, and then questions with the answers explained. So if you do find maths hard, it's written in a way that if you're like me and find it hard, you should find it helpful. Also, and the marks are in that workbook, by the way. I am releasing practice papers, not predicted, practice papers this year for 2026. And for every maths question, I've written out how you get the answer, because it's a pet peeve of mine that they don't put that in the mark scheme. So that should help. So what we need to go on to, we've looked at mistakes, but we don't know what your weaknesses are. So we need to come up with what you can do to improve, because you are going to improve. We're going to take action today, right now, start progressing from now. And this is why I was saying you might want to bring a most recent test paper or mock paper with you. If you don't have it, that's absolutely fine. Just think back to the last test you did. What did you lose the most marks on? Put it in the chat box. In your most recent test, what do you think you were losing the most marks on? Was it a particular skill? Was it a particular bit of theory? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to have a look over at the chat box what we're saying. AO3, maths, application, application, application. I'm not surprised because, first of all, most questions are typically application. Almost half of your A level will be application, and also they're hard. So a lot of you probably will say application. So thinking about this, we now know your mistakes. We're going to fix those. We need to now be certain on what your weaknesses are so we can fix those as well. So think about, or even better, if you can get hold of one of your tests, you might have to ask to look at it in school with a teacher if they don't let you take it home. But go through it. Every place that you lost the mark, you need to tally what the reason was. So if it was maths, you put a tally there. And by the time you've gone through the whole paper, you then get a really obvious pattern. Where do you have the most tallies? That's where you're losing the most marks. That's your weakness to focus on. So that is marks analysis. And I saw some of you in the chat knew this already, which I love. Hopefully that is because, well, maybe you were here yesterday, but also you might have seen me talk about it in videos before. So you need to be doing marks analysis. I actually have another version of this as well called paste analysis, which is more biology related or science related, because you have practical questions, application. Critical analysis is evaluate, extended response, data analysis. Same idea, go through your tests, see where you lost the marks, so you can see what stands out as your strengths, therefore you don't need to focus on it as much. Weaknesses, you need to be doing a lot on that. And then we can come up with the fix. And when I say the fix, that means what you need to do to improve. Now, I'm going to go back to the previous one because I can see some of you were asking what some of these mean. Maths, that's fairly straightforward. Application is the AO2, when you have an unfamiliar context and you have to suggest or explain an answer for that. Reading the question, maybe you skimmed it and didn't see there were two command words, describe and explain, or maybe you misread something. Clarity of answer, what that means is you had the right idea, but you didn't get the marks because you didn't use the wording on the mark scheme. So maybe you didn't say the exact word they underlined, or you missed off a key bit. So clarity of answer, best way to improve with that is, well, if you've got my flashcards, they are literally mark scheme specific for every definition, key term, process. So that would sort out your clarity of answer. But if you're watching my entire topic YouTube videos, I've got it mark scheme specific there as well. Knowledge means you just didn't know the information. Statements per question means you didn't write enough for the number of marks there were. So if you want to know what you could do to improve, that's the last bit that we're looking at. Smart targets, you might have heard of these before. These are targets which are the best things to set to improve. If you know that you need to get better application questions, it's not very helpful to just say, I'm going to work on application, because what are you going to do? What activities? How are you going to get better? Over what period of time? And if you set yourself something really vague that you're going to do, then you probably won't do it, because it needs to be something that you literally know what you have to do. So it has to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. So you need to literally say an activity you're going to do. So if it's application, you might say, I'm going to do an application question from Miss Estruch's free pack of questions. That is specific. It needs to be measurable. So you might say, I'm going to do 3 questions. That way you can tick off, yes, I've measured, I've done 3. Achievable and realistic, I kind of link together that you need to realistically be able to get hold of whatever you're saying. So there's no point saying the 2025 paper. You might not be able to get hold of that. There's no point saying every maths question that ever existed, because you probably can't do that. If it's something that you can't afford, then that's not realistic. So that's why I always link it to my free packs of questions, because it's readily available and it's free, so everyone can get access to it. And if you're setting something that isn't realistic or achievable, then you're not going to meet the target, and you're going to feel rubbish, because you'll be there thinking, oh, I can't even do this, and it will knock your confidence again. So it is really important that you're setting specific, measurable to check you're doing it, but it has to be realistic that you can achieve it. So you get that sense of, yes, I've made progress, rather than setting yourself up to fail. And then time bound. You have to set a short period of time that you're going to do it within, because in the chat box, how many of you does this sound like? You've got 2 weeks to do your homework. That means you're going to do the homework in 13 days' time. Whereas if you're told the homework is due tomorrow, you're going to do it tonight, you're going to get it done straight away. Because most people will do things just before the deadline. It's quite common human nature that. So you need to set yourself a time limit, and a short one, because the shorter things are, the more likely you're going to get it done. Particularly if you have ADHD or any sort of like neurodivergency, that is one of the executive skills that people that are neurodivergent really struggle with, or a lot of students might struggle with, that if it's quite a far deadline, it's hard to find that motivation and will and drive to get doing it until just before it's due. So that's why you need to set yourself shorter time frames to get yourself to do it, which is why, let's do one together here. If you did set application, which loads of you did, I predicted that'd be the case. That's why I said this one. To improve application questions, I'm going to complete 3 of the application questions in Miss Estruch's free application pack within 2 weeks. You might even want to say 1 week to really shorten that down. We've got something specific, measurable, it's achievable, we've got a time limit on it. And then when that 2 weeks is up, you set another one, and then another one, and another one, until you get to your A levels. You need to do this now every 2 weeks to your A levels, and you will improve. I promise you, you will improve if you stick at this, because every time you're setting yourself a new target, you are conquering a little bit more of that skill or that bit of theory. And you might need to review it and think, I think I'm all right at this now. What's my next weakest point? I'll focus on that. But that's the beauty of it. And you need to take action now, because let's face it, if we don't do it now, you're going to go off, do whatever you're going to do for the rest of the evening, go to school, college tomorrow, think, yeah, that was a good session, forget about it, move on with your life, life happens. So you have to do this now, set the target now so that you have done it, hold yourself accountable. If you want to improve, you need to take action now. In the chat box, hold yourself accountable. Tell me what your target is. I'll give you some ideas. If you're not sure, if it was clarity of answer, let's say, you might say that you're going to create or use my flashcards and test yourself for 20 minutes every day for the next 2 weeks. If it was maths questions, you might want to swap this one and say maths questions. I've got a free pack of maths questions on my website. If it is statements per question, bullet point my answer. And if it's a 5 mark question, make sure I've got 6 bullet points just in case. If it was, what else was there? Long answer questions. It could be that you're going to do 3 long answer questions for my pack. You get the idea. But if there's anything you're not sure, please ask me now in the questions and I'll have a look. The more specific you are with your target, the easier it'll be for you to achieve it. So literally say how many questions, where you're getting those questions from, when you're going to do it by. Oh, knowledge. Yes, I missed off that one. Knowledge. So if it's knowledge, it might mean a particular topic. You might say, I'm going to watch Miss Estruch's entire topic video on that bit of the spec, complete the free workbook, and then blurt that content afterwards, or test myself with the flashcards, or test myself on the exam questions. But basically, have that line: watch the video, complete the workbook, test myself. My next thing I want to say about this is, I'm loving that you've got it in the chat box, but we need to get it somewhere visible for you every day. So if you've got a bit of paper, write this on that bit of paper now, or a post-it note, even better. Or if you've got sticky notes, like literally like digital sticky notes on your desktop or on your tablet or on your phone, write it there now. So every time you open your laptop or every time you're going into your room, you see this target, because if it's in front of you, if it's visible, it's constantly reminding you, you're more likely to do it. If you write it in the chat and never write it anywhere else, you're going to forget it. Maybe put it as a background on your phone. Just whatever you do, it needs to be visible. And by the way, I did say for the social media prize, one of the final slides, this could be it. Take a photo now, maybe, of this slide to show you stayed all the way until this bit, because we're pretty much at the end now. We've got time for some Q&A. So the final thing is, what are our key takeaways? We've identified your gold mine, or maybe you now know how to do it. You know mistakes that you were making that you had no idea they were mistakes, and you can fix it. You now know how to work out your weaknesses, and we've talked about why they're a weakness, how to fix it. Plus, hopefully, you've shifted your mindset now. Never feel embarrassed again about getting something wrong, because that is a learning opportunity. It's your opportunity to improve. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's got weaknesses. You need to own it, take control of them, and realize that is your ticket to improving. Set smart targets based on those weaknesses frequently so you can turn those weaknesses into strengths, just like I did with my math skills. Woo! For that paper one, but it only comes with consistent hard work. And the final thing, like I've been saying in the last few minutes, take action now. If you don't do it now, you are very unlikely to do it, because you'll go on to the next thing, you'll forget. Set that smart target. And linking to the take action now, in the chat box, I said at the start, how confident do you feel about progressing, getting that grade? How confident do you feel now? Let's do the number scale again. How confident are we feeling? You can find all of the free question tabs, missestruct.co.uk/freebies. Just paste that into the chat box. Now, I don't know what everyone's score was to start with, but I'm seeing far more 8s and 7s now. Obviously, you still have to put these principles into action, so there might still be a little bit of uncertainty. But the main takeaway is, I really hope that you've now come out of this session feeling more confident and reassured that there's, number one, time to improve. Don't worry about making mistakes. That's a good thing. You learn from it. And now how to fix those mistakes. And as I said, if you found this helpful, we need to take action now. If you found this helpful, I have got bundled up something that you can use to take action now that is like 10 times, 100 times what we have just done now. Because I have got my exam technique mastery course. Everything we've just done in this hour is pretty similar to lesson 1 out of 7 in this course. Because what I go through with you is you start by doing a test, you go through what your weaknesses are, identify them, and then there's a series of lessons for data analysis, practical skills, long answer question. What else is there? Critical analysis. There's an AQA bonus series to do with the essay. There's OCR long answer questions, but it's all of the exam skills. A video lesson where I teach you how to do it, a pack of questions, and then a video walkthrough of the questions, and you get a test at the end as well. Plus, there's a community where you get to ask me questions, but those questions are all fully unseen. They're not past paper questions. And this is now the 4th year of me running this. So I've had hundreds of students do this course who have made huge amounts of progress because they sat in this session, they decided, I'm going to take action. I'm really motivated. I'm serious about improving. And students, like we can see here, worked out from doing the course exactly their weaknesses. They looked at what they could do to improve. They had such an improvement in motivation, accountability. We had Lily over here as well, who said she saw her marks improving immediately after starting the course because she just knew what to do and she had that practice. We had other students completing this saying it was like having one-to-one tuition, even though it wasn't, and it was a fraction of the price of one-to-one tuition. Plus, not only did they improve their grades, they felt happier, more confident, more motivated. And many students said they actually did the same thing that they learned for this. They applied it to their chemistry and their chemistry went up as well because it works for all exam boards, actually all subjects if it's a science, and all year groups because you get access to this forever. So even if you're in year 12, you can use this now and you can use it again in year 13. So what this includes then, I've said most of these, but it's 7 lessons. By dynamic, I mean you get a recorded video lesson, you get a pack of exam questions, you then get the mark scheme, you get a video walkthrough, but not only that, you start with an assessment and an end one to see your progress to help you work out what is your weakness, how to improve. It's exclusive exam questions, they're not past papers. You get practical skills flashcards, which are here. There's the bonus AQA lessons, everything you need to get full marks on the essay. You get access to a study community, meaning you can send me messages and I answer them because I can't do that with everything on social media. But if you're in that community, I answer everything. Plus, if you do OCR, my long answer question workbook that you normally have to buy, that's thrown in as well. Now, all of this, normally at this point I have in the chat box, well, how much does this cost? Because it sounds like you've got a lot of things there. It's not £600, let me say that right away. It would be worth that though if you were paying for the equivalent in one-to-one tuition, paying for the workbooks, paying for the AQA lesson, essay resources, paying for the flashcards. All of this would actually come to £600 or more. But I'm not going to be charging you that. This course would cost £350, but I'm not even charging that. That's going to be the price from next week. But because I'm relaunching it this week, I'm cutting down the price even more to £249, which might still sound and is potentially quite a big chunk. But the way to think of this is it's an investment in your future. You've got that end goal that you are wanting to achieve. This is an alternative to one-to-one tuition, which would cost you far more than £249 for 7, 8+ hours of tuition, plus these resources. You can do this as many times as you want. And not only that, I did say there was a bonus I was throwing in as well. Or haven't even got to the bonus yet. I've just had to mention this as well. 25% discount. If you do have the bursary, email me, you get 25% off this as well. But the bonus for this week is, yes, you've got the £249. An extra bonus, which is only going to be live though until 11 p.m. tonight, is if you sign up using the link that's going to be emailed to you. However, I will email it to, put it in the chat box just now as well. You get my notes included for free, which usually are £50, just under £50. So you actually get the £50 notes included in that price, plus you get the discount. That is such an investment in your future. The notes cover all the theory, plus for the AQA and OCR ones, there's now recall questions in there, examiner tips, key marking points as well. Then the course is all of the exam technique. You've got it all bundled, what you need to improve. But that's only available for the next 2 hours. After that point, you still get the 249, but you won't get the free notes. So just bear that in mind. And because I realise that's still quite a bit of money, if you are not sure and thinking that's still quite a lot, I need to be convinced before I part with my money that it's definitely going to help. Obviously, I'm going to say I think it's amazing because I made it, but I do genuinely think it's amazing. It's so helpful. And that's why I share the student testimonials as well, because they also found it incredibly helpful. But you might want to decide for yourself. So you can get free access, which I'll paste into the chat box. That link I've just put into the chat box gives you free limited access. So you can't do the entire course because that's not fair to the people that pay. But what you can see with the limited access is the introduction lesson, the baseline assessment test you can complete, and you can see what all of the lessons are, but you don't get access to all of the content. But it's to give you a bit of an idea of what the course is like, whether you can see that it will help you before you decide in investing. But just to point out, if you do go for that limited access and you want to get that bonus of the notes, you're going to need to work quickly tonight having a look at it and then decide if you want to buy so you get the notes as well. Because it'll be really disappointing for you if you decide later on this week, oh, actually, I do want to buy, and you've missed out on the chance of the free notes. So just bear that in mind. Right, we have got a little bit of time left. The final thing then is, yes, there's 2 hours left on that offer to invest in your future. Take action now, make that level of progress. But I did say I'd answer your questions. Just to point out that if you've got any questions linked to this, you can send me an email, send me a message on Instagram if I miss your question based on this course, because you want to find something out before you buy, but you want to be able to buy it before that free notes timer is up. I am going to check my phone and emails for the next 30 minutes afterwards to make sure I answer any questions. But now, let's see. Someone keeps asking my thoughts on Uplearn. I've never used it, so I don't know. I'm really sorry, I don't know. I've never used it to tell you. Oh, practicals. I have a resource for practicals. Let me know what exam board you are, because I'm just going to paste for you the AQA version. I have got the entire set of apparatus techniques and practicals in this workbook, what the practical is, what bits of the theory it links to, what you need to know, common short answer questions, common exam questions, and all the answers, everything for AQA and OCR. Okay, best way to approach a 25-mark essay, revision, enough for it. Oh, I can't answer that question in 1 minute. I do a whole series of sessions on it. But in short, make sure you understand the mark scheme, do lots of plans and do some essays in time conditions. Check out my essay playlist on YouTube. I didn't see the start of someone's question. Someone said, do I still have to pay £249? I don't know what the start of the question was to be able to answer that. How do I balance my time between subjects? That's what I'm struggling with. That is tough. What I would suggest is I'm actually going to do some videos on this on YouTube, I think, like how to balance and plan your revision from Easter onwards. But I think I might have done that last year as well. So have a look at the one last year. I give you some examples of timetables for if you're year 12 or year 13, how to schedule a revision timetable so you're covering everything. So search for Miss Estruch revision timetable on YouTube, and I've got that there. Do you recommend creating SMART goals at the start of every week? I actually think weekly is probably quite a good idea. Maybe at the weekend, if you've got a bit of review time, every Sunday, review your progress, set a new goal for the week. Do you have a worksheet for AQA which includes all the definitions which you need to know for topic 7? That's what my AQA flashcards are. So my flashcards are basically that. Do you have the answers? Oh, I missed the start. Oh, I've lost it now. Where did that one go? Do you have the answers? Oh no, I've lost it. Oh, there it is. Do you have the answers to the questions that you've put together for each topic? There isn't answers because it's literally just the information from the video. So there isn't like corresponding answer booklet for those free booklets because it's if you've watched the video and written it down, you've got the correct information. What is the difference between common exam command words? Oh, if you didn't know, you can actually search for this for AQA online. Search AQA biology command words. I think they only publish it for GCSE, but it's the same for A level. So you've got all of the command words and what they mean. It's out there online. What does the long-term planner cover? It tells you what subtopic to revise each week from now until the exams. Is it a good idea to make revision notes? I feel like I spend too much time on them. Personally, no, I don't think so because it does take too much time and that's passive. I think you're better off using free notes that might be online. If your school gives you a textbook, using that, or you get my notes. Get this course. Get my notes included. Those notes cover everything, but you need to be spending more time testing yourself, not writing notes. It takes hours and that's passive. What should be the plan if I'm currently on a grade C or B in March and I'm in year 13? Do these SMART targets, like we said, work out your weaknesses, focus on those weekly. If you're on a C or a B, you probably need to improve in application and making sure you know the clarity of those mark scheme specific answers inside out. Things like the flashcards are really going to help with that. What are the most frequent paper one topics? Oh, I'm going to be doing a YouTube video on that. I will be posting the most common topics I think might come up this year for AQA and OCR. That's going to be coming in April and May. So look out for that. That'll be on YouTube. What's the difference between your notes and flashcards? My notes cover every single bit of theory for the specification explained with diagrams, key terms box, summaries, recall questions, examiner tips. My flashcards are literally just the definitions, key terms, some of the processes, and then on the other side, it's the marking points. So the flashcards are designed for you to test yourself to improve your memory. The notes are designed to help you understand the information. So one is for understanding, one is for memory. Favorite exam board and why? For me, AQA, because I've taught it for 16 years. It's just what I know. That's why I like it. I normally have more time for revision during weekends rather than weekdays. Would it help when I revise to revise for, let's say, 50 minutes to 1 hour and then consistent breaks in between? Yeah, because attention span, you need to have a break. Most common topic that people struggle with. Everyone's different, but year 12, it's normally immunity, mass transport. Year 13, it's normally gene technologies and nervous system. I'd say those two are quite common. How does the course compare to the biology study club? Are there discounts for people in the biology study club? Yes, I noticed some of the names I recognise. If you're one of my biology study club members, you should have received an email with a discount code. If you're in my biology study club, you get 25% off this course. The difference is the biology study club is live lessons every single week. The course, there's no live elements. It's all videos, and you get walked through to complete it independently, and it's just on exam technique with lots of questions and support that way. The biology study club, you have theory lessons and exam question lessons, but everything is live, so you can talk to us live. It's more like interactive lessons. So that's the difference predominantly between the two. For the free resources, do I still pay £249? For the free resources, I think what you must be asking me is this one here with the notes. So if you sign up to the course using the link that I sent, but I'll send it again just to make sure you definitely use the right one. If you sign up for the course using this link that I've just pasted before 11 p.m. tonight, it will cost £249, but you will also be emailed all 3 sets of these notes included in that price. So you don't have to pay the £50 extra on top. You're given the notes for free for the course if you get it tonight as someone that came to the webinar. How many nights should you spend revising a week now that you've quit one of your jobs? If you can, I would personally be revising or doing homework every night. Not literally all night, because obviously you need a break so you don't burn out, but you should be doing at least 1 hour of work every evening. I don't know how long it takes you to get home, but let's assume you get home by 5 p.m. You've got a solid 5 to 6 hours still all evening before you're going to bed, I assume. Yes, you need to relax. Yes, you need to eat. Yes, you might have a part-time job. You might have to do some chores for the family. That's 4 hours. It still gives you 2 hours of work time. So that's the way I'd think of it. Do you think 30 minutes of Seneca every day is an effective way to revise? I haven't actually used Seneca to be able to comment, but if it's like my flashcards or just use my flashcards instead, then yes. Right, we have run out of time. I'm so sorry if I didn't get onto your question, but like I said, send me an email, missestruch@gmail.com. I'm going to be checking the DMs if there's any questions. I am going to prioritize questions about the course because I know some people will want to buy it before that free notes offer expires. I really, really want to say thank you for staying all the way to the end because over 100 of you are still here now. It's 9:05. It's what night is it today? Monday. It's a Monday night. So thank you so much for coming to this session. I really, really hope it's helped boost your confidence and awareness of how to improve. Take action now, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I've got so many things coming in the future to help you with your exams as well. And the social media prize, I'll be checking and selecting the winner by 10 o'clock tonight because then I'm going to bed. I will send, what I'll do is I'll post on my stories who the winner is and ask you to DM me. So, best of luck, everyone, with your revision. And I'll see you in something very soon.